Good, everybody? It's your boy Ishmael here. This is a video I considered putting under the New Hollywood section, but this is actually kind of serious, so I want to make sure I'm thoughtful in my expression throughout this video. We're seeing a disturbing trend online of people being openly bigoted. This one in particular is pretty dang blatant. So this is obviously about what Nick Cannon said today. And by the way, I'm not going to say I'm offended, because I'm not, because he's just some idiot, obviously. I know most people don't think like this in this country. Most people are well-intentioned, rational individuals. But it does show it is a threat to how we as Americans view each other. On a Joe Rogan podcast recently, Brett Weinstein made a very good point. He said, what's happening is social media is turning up the extremes of both sides and creating something truly dangerous. Well, Nick Cannon just came out and said that melanin determines your power, essentially. And I'm paraphrasing here, excuse me. But he says, white people have less melanin, which is true. Therefore, they are not capable of compassion. Now, this is a profoundly dumb thing to say, right? We can all agree on that. Most people don't believe this. Most people, I operate from the premise fundamentally that I know what melanin is. All it is a chemical in your skin. It's evolved based on what part of the hemisphere you're from and your relation to the equator. That's it. It doesn't determine personality. Okay? It does not determine personality characteristics. It is merely a chemical in your skin. I'm going to play this video because it's important for you guys to see. I don't want to come off as if I'm taking him out of context. So here it is.
Let's go to what it really is then. When we talk about the power of melanated people, when we talk about who we really are as guys, and understanding that our melanin is so powerful and it connects us in a way that the reason why they fear black, the reason why they fear is because the lack that they have of it. So then when you see what, Dr. Francis C. Wellesley talked about is that fear and that
just genetic annihilation,
deficiency of when you have a person that has the lack of pigment, the lack of melanin, that they know that they will be annihilated. So therefore, however they got the power, they have the lack of compassion. That melanin comes with compassion. Melanin comes with soul. That we call it soul. We soul brothers and sisters. That's the melanin that connects us. So the people that don't have it are a little, and I'm gonna say this carefully, are a little less. And where the term actually comes from, because I'm bringing it all the way back around to Minister Farrakhan, to where they may not have the compassion or the when they were sent to the mountains of Caucasus, when they didn't have the power of the sun, that the sun then started to deteriorate them. So then they're acting out of fear, they're acting out of low self-esteem, they're acting out of a deficiency. So therefore, the only way that they can act is evil. The only way they have to rob, steal, rape, kill, and
fight or flight,
in order to survive.
Exactly.
So then these people who didn't have what we had, and when I say we, I speak of the melanated people.
Right.
They had to be savages. They had to be barbaric. They had, because they're in these Nordic mountains. They're in these rough, torrential environments. So they're acting as animals.
Right.
So they're the ones that are actually closer to animals. They're the ones that are actually the true savages. And then they built up such this I don't want to say warrior, but they built up such this conquering barbaric mentality.
Now, if you came away from that feeling a little bit dumber, then you're on the team rational. But what I'm worried about is that when I was looking at this story and looking at some of the reactions, it was mostly full of people saying, you really think we're going to cancel Nick Cannon because he said white people are evil? No, I don't think you're going to cancel Nick Cannon. Although I actually think he will get canceled because this is some next level crazy shit. And if you're making the argument that based on someone's genetics, they are inherently inferior to you, that is the definition of racism. That is the definition of it. Now, obviously, there's some historical considerations and societal considerations, but we can't just allow this sort of rhetoric to become mainstream. Because all this rhetoric does is empower those crazy assholes like Richard Spencer on the right who will say, this is why we need an ethno-state. What, they can be racist, but we can't? And what's going to happen is some well-meaning young white Americans are probably going to defect to that because they see rhetoric like this from some of our biggest social influencers, and they come to the conclusion like, they're not on my team. This is a tribalism. I'm white. I can't change that. And I'm somehow inferior to you because you're black. That's bullshit. Just like when a white person says black people are inferior to me, please don't take that out of context. That's bullshit. Okay? This is, and this is, by the way, this exists on social media. And the only reason why I go on social media is to think up topics for my YouTube channel. In the matter of, literally, I was on there for 20 seconds and I find this stuff. And I find the reactions. I find people supporting him. You know, and I find that those tweets supporting him get a lot of likes, and it's really disturbing. It's really disturbing because as an American, I think we have a great opportunity right now in this country to promote real change and real justice. The ultimate question is, what does justice look like? And that's up for people much smarter than me to debate. But what I worry about is whoever's watching this video, you might be a young person like myself. Please detach yourself from social media. I watched that video and immediately I'm inundated with fake emotions. Because you feel like he's influencing opinions because he's a social figure. You feel like people agree with him and that, but it radicalizes me, right? Or it radicalizes you. It radicalizes people who are white. And we don't need radicals right now. We need moderates more than ever. And I fear that this movement going on is being hijacked by anti-Semitism and these celebrities who are just stupid. Nick Cannon is stupid. Melanin does not determine your personality, obviously. And this is something that most black and white Americans understand. This is not a mainstream view. And for good reason, because it's stupid. What we're getting to now is the subtleties of the echoes of slavery. What we're getting to now is examining policy from the war on drugs and how that disproportionately affects the black community. And that's a conversation we should have. I think most Americans understand that. But what we're seeing right now from these celebrities trying to hijack the movement for some Twitter likes and notoriety, because this is the only way they can get it right now. They're not coming out with movies. There's not a lot of music coming out. This is the way they get attention. And they're not smart, you guys. Celebrities aren't smart. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. If you're a celebrity, you haven't been asked to do much critical thinking in your life. Your opinions are not challenged by the people who surround you. You're surrounded by people who only agree with you because they think they can get something from you. If you saw that video, you'll see that The man next to him is like, yep, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Yes, yes. Obviously, he's stoked that Nick Cannon came onto his radio show, podcast, or whatever that was. And for good reason. And he's probably even more stoked that he's saying this crazy shit because his podcast is going to blow up. And it has. And that's a big problem because it reveals something about where we are right now. We have bad incentives. Journalists have bad incentives. Politicians have bad incentives. We go to social media to validify the content of our ideas. This is going to a very bad place. And I just want to reassure everyone that social media is not a reflection of the real world. And particularly if there's any white people listening to this right now. Do not allow Nick Cannon to radicalize you. Do not allow Shannon Sharp or these guys who come out and defend someone like Louis Farrakhan to radicalize you. Because they do not represent the majority of well-intentioned, intelligent people. If you really want to get the true thoughts from like who represents most of the black community, intelligent, well-informed people who mean well, go to Richard Sherman, go to Mark Lamont Hill, go to Coleman Hughes, go to Larry Fitzgerald, go to these people, go to Denzel Washington, Terry Crews. All those people I've just named are politically diverse. Some left, some right. But what they all are men of extremely high integrity and values who believe in what they believe, and they're not out there for notoriety. They're going to tell you what they believe, and you can trust that they're telling you that in good faith. They are not out for likes. Nick Cannon could be that he really believes that. But there's something much more sinister operating overall in the social media realm. And I'm trying to detail that for you. Because this kind of rhetoric is so divisive. And ultimately, to get to the place that we want to get to as a society, and hopefully eventually move past this problem of racism, it's going to take well-intentioned, well-informed, intelligent people. And they are out there right now. But social media turns their voices down. The volume is turned way down on them because they don't inflame your emotions. No one gets mad when Richard Sherman posts a study showing the excessive force used on black people by cops disproportionately. No one gets mad when he answers a question from a reporter that's contentious and he gives a well-reasoned, well-thought response. That stuff doesn't get Twitter likes. Nick Cannon does. It's what it's designed to do. It's designed to make you irrational. Now, he's more of a useful idiot because he's a celebrity and he's just dumb. Just like Robert De Niro, okay? There's countless white celebrities who are dumb. I'm devoting a whole playlist to those. Very careful if I'm going to post it to a public forum about what I'm trying to convey to you. And this is to not allow the loud minority represent the silent majority of good people in this country who just want to make our country a better place. Thank you. This is Ishmael. If you appreciate what I said today, please leave a like and subscribe.